Okay, so pardon me if I'm smacking into the microphone. So what we're gonna do is just do a quick breakdown. This is my favorite Soul Maul build, and it's been pretty great for me so far. I ran all the way from 20 to 30. It's almost a pure build. It worked really well, so I'm gonna do a quick breakdown, try to keep it as succinct as possible, and we'll go from here. So right now my stats, oops, gonna be turning around, dramatic focus loss. There we go. So stats look like this. Hopefully you can read these. Strength 32, Dex 30, Con 42, Int 33, Wisdom 53, and Chaw 30. And you're like, wait a minute, you did a favorite soul, but it's not a Chaw build? And I'm like, yes, I did do it. It is a Wisdom-based build simply because if you go with a Chaw build, while that has a bunch of advantages, it's great for your social skills and your UMD. But what really is significant is that it actually, in my opinion, you may disagree, but it costs you a feat. Because for me, if I have a charisma build, I feel obligated to take the force of personality feat. I didn't want to have to burn a feat to get a good will save. So if you go wisdom based, that means that you can get all of your bonuses inherently to your will save without having to burn a feat to get it, and everything stacks up the same because it's a purple dragon knight, not specifically. A lot of people think purple dragon knight is charisma based. It actually isn't. It's just a human, so it's not really specifically statistically slanted to any particular class, even though some of the abilities in the purple dragon knight tree are charisma based, because those abilities lean heavily towards using swords or are towards what would you call it, tactics feats. There we go. That's not really necessary. It's not really what this build is about. This build is a lot more like, handles a lot like a paladin, like a slayer paladin. So the concept is obviously that we go with Silvanus. Let me have a look here. So we go into the feats, have a quick look. Here's all feats. So I took acid resistance, electricity resistance, fire resistance, knowledge of battle, the embodiment of faith through your deity. You have the ability to use your wisdom modifier, both hit and damage portions of your weapon. So I'm all in on wisdom for attack and damage, wisdom for my spells. And again, it's helps along because again, it's all focused on one stat. Makes it a lot easier. Knowledge of battle. You have the ability to use your wisdom modifier. Oh, we just did that one. Leap of faith, which is awesome. Stout of heart because it's more hit points, obviously, and you always want more hit points if you're going to be a melee build. These paladin feats are actually from the Divine Crusader tree, so we're not going to worry about that. Martial feats, power attack, cleave, great cleave, and you're like, well, if you're going to go two-weapon fighting or two-handed fighting, why did you not just skip it and have free feats, and then you could have gone charisma based and taken force of personality? That's true, you probably could have done that. However, in my opinion, if we zip back over here and we have a quick look at the melee combat, you will see that I have 190% strike rate chance. There's probably a way to get that up higher, but it's, for all intents and purposes, I'm hitting 3 targets on a swing, but I'm not getting that until I'm well into my epic levels. So you're going to want cleave and great cleave, and that's mainly because the ability I have here, what do they call this? Divine Vessel. This ability, which is effectively supposed to be a cleave, it does 1 to 4 fire damage and 1 to 4 light damage per character level, which scales with your fire and light power. That sounds really good, except it's hot garbage. D4, if you just do the math, D4 times 20 and then another D4 times 20, even if you get that up to 30 D4, which I don't know that it scales to, excuse me, that's still way less than the average swing of my weapon. Like way less. So needless to say, that's a bad time. Do not want. So it gives you a cleave. It's like it hits all the nearby ones for 5W, which is cool, except that like 100% doesn't work all the time, and this requires charging. So I'm always going to be like having to charge it up until I have the ability to do a cleave. That's ridiculous. So you want cleave and great cleave on this build. And then amongst the other feats we took, improved critical bludgeoning, obviously. And that's pretty much it. And for the meta magics, we took power, healing, and quicken. I think I took extend later on, just as a quality of life. I didn't really have anything to fill it in with, so I just took extend because why not? And that worked pretty well. And because, I shouldn't have closed that, because favored soul gets, those are my favorite feats, DD feats, all of the line for free, this is what makes this build work. And that is, Beloved of the Divine, you gain bonuses to attack damage with all favorite soul weapons you wield. So martial weapons, which is a maul, is +2 to attack damage. Blessing of Silvanus, you are a devoted follower of Silvanus. If it has been rewarded, toggling this on gives you the Blessing of Silvanus. You permanently gain a +4 natural armor bonus to AC, and mauls you wield gain +2 to their critical threat range. Two things to consider. +4 natural armor means practically nothing. You're going to get a higher bonus than that through equipment. But +2 to the critical threat range of your maul is huge. That's a big, big deal. Also, it's a toggle, and I could not figure out why my DPS sucked for a long time, and then it suddenly occurred to me, it's a toggle for reasons I can't begin to imagine, and you have to turn it on. Once you turn it on, all of a sudden your threat range opens up and you become an engine of destruction. But for the love of Pete, just turn this thing on. As soon as you hit this level, at level 6, favorite soul, make sure you drag it onto your hotbar and you toggle it on, because if you don't, you're going to have a bad time. And then, of course, Child of Faith gets you another +2 in attack and damage. And then mauls are considered a favorite weapon for you, which just gives you proficiency. Again, this doesn't really matter because this build takes 2 levels of fighter up front. But, meh. And again, this is what it looks like. I got 2 fighter and I got 18 favorite soul. The reason I did that was, again, because this is effectively a human, you get a bonus feat and then you get 2 additional feats from the fighter. So at first level you have power attack, cleave, and what the heck else did I have at first level? Something else that was pretty awesome. In any event, you get 3 feats off the gate, because you've got a fighter feat, you've got a human feat, and you got a fighter bonus feat. And then at level 2 you get another feat, so you can actually get all the feats. So you've got power attack, cleave, great cleave, 2-handed fighting, the entire 2-handed fighting line. So we go into the martial feats here. I guess does that count as a combat style? There we go. Great 2-handed fighting, improved 2-handed fighting, 2-handed fighting. So you get all of these. So you get power attack, cleave, great cleave, 2-handed fighting, improved 2-handed fighting, greater 2-handed fighting. So now you're up to 6 feats already out of a theoretical 7. But now we've also got empower, healing, and quicken, and that's 8. So you're up to that, and I don't know what other feats I took. I must have taken something else that I've completely forgotten about. Oh, improved critical bludgeoning. So there you go. So there's your 9 feats, and that covers your bases. And the reason why we do that, and the reason why, well, first off, you need those feats, and second of all, the capstone for War Priest, or I should say War Soul, is hot steam and garbage. So if we just click on this and look at it, plus, what is this giving? Strength? Yeah, so they're all implacable foe, and it's giving you, and it's all basically the same thing. This one will give you strength, one will give you wisdom, one will give you charisma. So it's +4 whatever, then fire force and armor class, fire and light spell power. I don't know why that's even in here. You're never using fire and light. I think the idea was this was supposed to be some kind of bizarre gish where you were like mixing melee and spells, but your spell power is so hilariously bad if you're not focused on it that there's basically no point in doing it. Like, I have Divine Punishment here, but my Divine Punishment ticks for like 150 or 170 on a good day. And like, again, every swing of my maul is like a minimum of 400 on a bad swing, you know, against 100% fortification mob. So why would I even bother? Like, all of your spells are going to be focused towards healing, with the exception of maybe like Comet Fall, which is being used as crowd control. So you're not, and even then it's dubious because your DCs are not going to be super rad. They won't be terrible, but they won't be super rad either. Like, I think what's my Comet Fall DC here? 39. So like 39 is not setting the world on fire. Like, maybe some trash mobs might fall down if they roll a 1. I don't know, but like, you're not getting a lot out of that at the ends. But basically, for all intents and purposes, this is a dedicated melee build, which is why I say it's more like a paladin than anything else. But that being said, it does work great. Now, one of the things that makes this build fly, I cannot emphasize this enough, and I'm going to probably break the market, but currently I am showing you the absolute judgment Maul. This is the one that comes out of the second Sarn chain on the docks, and it is a very good time. I was very fortunate. I pulled a Mythic 4, slotted it with a highly uncreative Ruby of Acid, and this is a very good weapon. I enjoyed it. Wholly axiomatic Evil Outsider Bane with UMD on it. Doesn't really help you for scroll use, but it does help you if you're just like you're trying to sneak in a piece of equipment that's alignment locked or race locked if you have an old one. Helps a little bit, and that's huge. I did have, in case you've never seen one, this is what a green steel Maul looks like, and I made this ages ago, and I still find that it's just wholly good burst, good blast. Not really exciting, but it is greater disruption. And that's a much bigger deal than you might think at level 12, because it destroys things at, I think, 1500 or less. And so that's kind of a big deal. And it also has 3 raised dead clickies on it. So it's a raised dead clicky as well as everything else. The next order of business, I do have... Where did I put that? I thought I had that in my inventory somewhere. Let's see. Probably have to edit this for time. So anyway, obviously you have you're gonna go out to Ravenloft and grab yourself a Barovian Maul. If you don't have Ravenloft, my question would be why? So that is one of the things you're obviously gonna want, is you're gonna want a Barovian Maul. I have this is the Morning Lord's Maul. Looks pimp and is great, super easy to get. Again, just run out and ask for it. It's pretty straightforward. Sworn Silver Maul. This one comes out of Borderlands. There's also the Epic Ethereal Maul. I would recommend getting both of those if you don't have anything else. Both of these are good. The reason I have the Epic Sworn Silver Maul is because it does have a good pipe pass on it, which I didn't really have for anything else. It also has Unnatural Bane, Silver, and Destruction, all of which are great. So this is a very good overall thing if you want to kill vampires and werewolves and stuff. And it's also great for killing a lot of demons who have or devils who have a good bypass, which you don't really get in other places. We also have Epic Fury of the Flame. That is Impact, Flaming Blast, Coruscating, Fracturing, and Adamantine. And of course, I saw that with Ruby of Flame, level 20 for 66. Just to keep on the theme, keep on brand. Nothing terribly untoward happening here, but it is a very good weapon. So if you have the means to get it, it's a fairly common drop. You've got to do the Hellhound optional fight in Servants of the Overlord to get this, but most people already have, like, I always throw in these things away forever, so you might as well grab it. The new ones are much better, and this will definitely be a very good weapon for you. You might, if you don't have any of the other ones, it's worth at least making this one if you can, because this can absolutely hard carry you through a lot of content. However, the one that I had that did the most hard lifting for me was this. If you've not seen this, this is the Drow Maul of the Weapon Master. And it is, on the surface, completely boring. It is +6 enhancement, maiming, so you get an extra 3 to 18 on critical hits and stunning 10. So it's like, okay, that's cool, but whatever. But what you're missing is the fine print. As a weapon, it actually has a 3W base damage, which you're not really seeing here, but it because of all the enhancements. But it's a 3x weapon base damage, and it has a double expanded threat range. So instead of being 20 times 3 for a standard Maul, it's 18 to 20 times 3, and that doesn't have impact on it. So then you add another +2 from Silvanus, then you add your, what do you call it, your improved critical. All of a sudden your threat range is now 14 to 20 times 4 times like 6 on a natural 20, and suddenly this weapon becomes a very, very good weapon. And just I might add that the stunning on these ones, they have different abilities. You can get them with stunning and vertigo and some other stuff, but the stunning on this one, has a 3% chance to stun something. It's a DC 33 save, which is not particularly great, but like it's a lot of swings. There's a lot of swings happening. And I saw a lot of stuff getting stunned. I'm like, why is all this stuff being stunned? I couldn't figure out what was happening because of the old stunning effect on this weapon. So this weapon, the Drow weapon, it only comes out of House of Rusted Blades in the end chest, and there are all kinds of different ones, so it can be a frustrating thing to kind of find the one you're looking for. But if you can farm one out, I would recommend doing so, because it will absolutely be a hard carry for you through basically from level 21 to 30. This is basically what I use for almost everything, unless it was an extremely situational thing. I also have this. In addition to looking fantastic, this is the Ferrocrystal Maul. What the Ferrocrystal Maul does, again, on the surface, looks like nothing. You're like, Febane, Destruction is kind of good, Maiming is okay, I guess, because this is the new Maiming, so it's like 2d8 on a critical. But it is crystal, so you can use it on slimes and rust monsters. But what's kind of getting glossed over, and I don't know if this was working as intended or not, but this Febane is actually entropic damage. It works on everything. I have yet to find something that does not take Febane damage, no matter what. Because in the description it says this weapon is attuned specifically to hunt those born in the Feywild, dealing additional 2d10 Bane damage versus Fey. Apparently, Fey includes literally everything in the game. So this actually is a much better weapon than you might otherwise be led to believe. Plus, it looks super pimp, and that's really what it's all about. If you were so inclined, you could go and maybe get the Temple of Elemental Evil Weapons or something. But realistically, because this is specifically a Purple Dragon Knight build, just something that would allow you to play something a little bit different and still be able to make use of the 2 fighter levels without having to actually burn a lesser heart to get rid of them. So this is definitely kind of fun. And this is the Epic Hammer of Life, in case you've never seen that. The Hammer of Life actually comes out of the Vaulted Night raid. Again, greater disruption guard, heal 17, repair 17. So it's actually boosting your heals quite a bit, but it's a pretty crap weapon. Like, it's, as a weapon, it's kind of stank. Only good really against undead, doesn't have any particular properties of DR breaking, so... Oh, I guess it does have good. I'm not sure how that happened. So it does have good bypass on it somehow. Not sure how that works, so maybe that's inherent to the weapon. Because there's a few of them where if you don't check the fine print, you'll find out. That was the same thing with the scimitar out of Temple of Elemental Evil. I forget what it's called. Leopard's Chill, I think. You look at it and you're like, wow, this thing kind of sucks, and then you realize that it's bypassing silver and good damage reduction, so it's an excellent DR breaker. So in any event, oh, and by the way, this is what the just completely random, but this is what the scimitars look like from Wayloon Prison. I'm gonna actually make a cosmetic out of this. That's pretty rad. I'm certain I've seen this somewhere before, but I don't remember where. But in any event, this is what they look like. So the weapons out of Wayloon have their own unique cosmetic look. There's a couple of neat ones that I'm going to make cosmetics out of. Turns out I'm out of Mirrors of Glamoring. I didn't think that was possible. I had like 20 of them at one point. I must have used them all. So anyway, so that's just a random aside. Gear, pretty straightforward. I'm using my Epic Salt Marsh set. So Crocodile Tooth, Epic Sailcloth Cloak, Crocodile Skin Boots, Driftwood Bracers to boost my heals, Epic Ethereal Ring because it's awesome. And then I'm using, at this point, I have the Epic Glimpse of the Soul, which comes out of Epic Orchard of the Macabre. I have my Epic Belt of Thought for Remembrance, also comes out of Orchard of the Macabre. You can easily replace this with a legendary Bronze Dragon Scale Belt, and you can replace these with, there's a bunch of different things that you can use for here. I had Epic Raven Sight for a while, and that's a pretty good item too. My beloved Crown of Butterflies, which is arguably the best in slot item for a melee, because it, again, doesn't look like much until you read the fine print. You have a plus 15 enhancement bonus to positive healing amplification and plus 10 enhancement bonus to melee power and plus 10 enhancement bonus to your range power. And the range power means nothing on this build, but all of that other stuff stacks, and there's nowhere to replace it. Like, there's no enhancement bonus to hamp and melee power literally anywhere else. And so you could put something else in here, but you're taking a ding, and you always want, especially on a melee build, as much hamp and as much melee power as you can possibly get. As always, married to the gravity well of the Sharn sets, so we are using the part of the family, so Enforcer's Coat, Family Recruit Sigil, Hammer Fist. Again, if you had the legendary versions, great. I don't have them, so I didn't use them. And I wasn't any poorer for it. And then, of course, my Quiver of Alacrity. This is kind of redundant, but it's nice to have early on. Because the Epic Ethereal Ring is speed 30, dodge 9, reflex 8, and ghostly. So this is a fantastic weapon. This obviously comes out of Saltmarsh. If you can get it, you want it. You want it as soon as you can possibly have it. Spells. Let's see what we got here. Pretty straightforward. Blessing, Cure Light Wounds. Night Shield is crucial. Always have Night Shield. Divine Favor. Blur is added as one of your Warsoul enhancements, but after I think level 12 you're already considered permanently blurred, so it doesn't really matter. Closed Wounds, at first I thought this was dumb, but it actually stops bleeding effects as well, which doesn't really happen any other way, so you get this as early as you can, and it also you'll get it as an SLA, so you'll have both. Cure Moderate Wounds, Resist Energy. Haste is added as a War Priest thing. Again, by level 20 you've got stuff that you're effectively permanently hasted, so it doesn't matter. Protection against evil, because you don't want to get compelled, even though this does not protect you against greater command, which I'm still salty about. Prayer is, again, one of these sleepers that you don't really think about, but it's a luck bonus to allies, which is attack rolls, weapon damage, saves, and skill checks. So that's a big deal later on that effectively cancels out some of your other things, so you want to have prayer, and if you can, extend it. Freedom of movement, again, you get this on items, but it's always nice to have in case somebody doesn't have it. Death Ward is a standby. Then Cure Mass, Flame Strikes, because I just literally couldn't think of anything else to put there. Divine Punishment, because I thought it would be more useful than it was. Comet Fall, again, thought it would be more useful than it was for knocking guys down. Heal, of course, you always have to have. Spell Resistance, which for some reason I don't have on my buff bar. I don't know why I didn't do that. Should have always had that up. I don't know why I didn't take that. Huh. Silly monkey. Anyway, so it should have been on my bar, but yeah, there it is. Holy Aura, again, allies gain a +4 sacred bonus to AC, +4 sacred bonus to saves, immunity, enchantment, and charm spells. So again, +4 sacred bonus and a +4 sacred bonus stack. Might as well take it, why not? Cure Critical Mass, and then of course, Heal Mass. So pretty straightforward stuff. I'll cut in some clips of me beating up on stuff, but this build works surprisingly well. I had practically the only times I died were when I got overwhelmed in, I think, Servants of the Overlord, when I didn't have any of my epic abilities, and I think there was one other place where I died. I can't remember where. Yeah, like it happens. This build just destroyed it, and the reason is because it has massive self-healing. So once you have Empower and Quicken, you effectively, by the end of this, because one of the enhancements in the Warsoul tree, take a look at the tree now. One of these, somewhere in here, actually it's in here, it's in the Beacon of Hope tree. Efficient Power Healing, 4 fewer spell points. So you can get this down to like, your Empower is costing like 5 extra spell points maybe, which is nothing. You have thousands of spell points, so it's meaningless. So that's a big deal. Now this is what my breakdown looked like for my enhancements. So I've got Human Versatility Saves Boost, took Wisdom, Healing Amplification, Don't Count Me Out, and then all 3 levels of Great Weapon Aptitude. 1 point in the Fate Arc Illusionist, because that just gets me a summon, and I like the Fox, so whatever. +5 force and universal spell power helps my kills a tiny bit. I did have a point in Falconry, but it was getting me nothing, so I just dumped it, took it in Fate Arc Illusionist. Beacon of Hope, I always found this icon to be a bit creepy, so all cores up to 5. Good Hope, because that's awesome. Closed Wounds LS SLA, also awesome. And then again, Competence Physical Resistance rating, spell critical, all the way up. So this is magical resistance rating, the Empower Healing bonus, Optimism, +2 PRR, +2 MR, +1 AC. Again, use one of your hope abilities, so this procs every time I do that. Took the Death Ward SLA, which I also don't have on my bar for whatever reason. The cores, Beacon of Grace, didn't get a lot of use out of that. Shining Light, this is a passive that procs. This is what gives me bonuses when I use my Leap of Faith. But this is what you're really after, is the Beacon of Hope. This thing is awesome. And what it does is it's like kind of a cone-shaped heal in front of you that also affects you. You and the odds ahead of you take the dispelling effects of Panacea, Restoration, Spell Paralysis, and heal for 5 points upon understanding per favorite soul level. Undead enemies ahead of you take the same amount of damage. So it's a blast in front of you, which is effectively awesome if you're fighting undead. And I use this so often that it was incredible. So this plus the heal was truly fantastic. Hold on, somebody's sending me a messenger. So that's pretty much it. And then War Priest Tree, all the cores up to 5. So 12 gets you Blur, this one gets you Haste. You want to get the core 5 because that's the competence bonus to your critical threat range. And then all of the damage enhancements, 10% Holy Strike for 10% Double Strike. Ameliorating Strike, this is amazing. So when you use Smite Foe, it goes off for what is effectively like the Cleric's Healing Burst, which is very handy. Magic Backlash, again, doesn't seem like a big deal, but since things are constantly casting spells at you, they're constantly getting knocked down, which is great. Obviously, Smite Weakness, you want that. Divine Will is an insight bonus to the DC of tactical fleets and damage, which is equal to half of your Wisdom modifier. So that's just straight up more damage. Physical resistance rating, more hit points. And then basically straight across the top. Divine Power, so this gives you full base attack bonus, commonest bonus to critical multiplier with your favorite weapons, plus 6 sacred bonus to strength, and a base attack bonus equal to the fighter at the same level. So that sacred bonus stacks, by the way. This is the Divine Vessel, which is hot garbage, and you could probably replace that with something else, because again, I use it occasionally, but it's not great. Wrathful Weapons, so when you're using your favorite weapon, plus 3 to hit damage, plus 9 universal spell power. On a purple hit, your weapons gain 10d6 light damage, lasts for the next 12 seconds. That procs more than you might think, and that's a lot of extra damage. Excuse me. Divine Champion, wearing radium armor. You gain 5% double strike, 5% double shot, and then plus 5 to confirm critical hits and critical hit damage. So again, that's just stacking damage. So that's a very good time as well. So you want to get all of these. You can live without Divine Vessel, but you absolutely want to have Divine Champion, Wrathful Weapons, and Divine Power. So ultimately, at the end, it's not a particularly complicated build. You just run up and start hitting stuff with your big hammer. But I really enjoyed it. It was super survivable. I like true soloed most of my epic levels. I parked the hireling at the entrance and just ran through it. Very rarely did I run into a situation where I couldn't quick and heal my way out of a problem. Every now and again, if you run into you're fighting 2 or 3 Reapers at a time, then you might have to run away and wait for it to run off so you can heal yourself back. But other than that, it was great. I should say that I did take the haste boost. And Inflame, because again, these are just free damage, but this is mostly when you're fighting bosses and stuff. Not really using that all the time. But yeah, it turned out fantastic. I was pleasantly surprised with how well it worked. So yeah, if I had to do it again, I would gladly run this build again because it was a lot of fun. And to give me an opportunity to do something with those 2 fighter levels, which I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to burn a heart. So this gave me another option to do that, and finished all of my PDK lives and all of my favorite soul lives all at once. So that was pretty rad. So I will try to do a breakdown as much as I possibly can and get those posted. I know I keep saying that I'll do that and I never do it, but there's a lot going on in my world right now, as there is for many people, so I am just going to do that. So I am going to call it good for here. Let's thank everybody who watched this video. I will be, again, as always, streaming from 0930 hours Monday to Friday Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to stop by and watch me fail in real time, that's my vocalist bothering me. Then I will see you then. Until then, take care, and I'll talk to you again soon.